So we're in a series from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, Love That Works. And you're going to hear this over and over again, love that works. So it's a love that, this kind of love, agape love, it works. It's effective, but it's a love that works. You know, it takes energy, it takes time, that you got to work at it. It's a kind of love that may not necessarily come naturally. It's not the kind of love that you just feel for somebody when you see them. It's a love that it's maybe toward people that are a little more difficult to love. It's a love that works. It requires our work. And we discovered last week that love is first of all patient and kind. So Paul kind of gives us these headline statements, and we saw that it was the passive and the active side of love, right? Love is patient. That's sort of the passive. You're long suffering. You're really just waiting. But love is also kind. It's not good enough just to be patient. You have to be kind while you're being patient. So kindness is that active side of love. And I don't know about you, but in my life I've discovered that it's actually a tricky balance there, to be kind and patient at the same time. But he says it. Love is first of all patient, long-suffering, and kind. Then Paul lists 8 negatives for us. So 8 things that love does not do, followed by 5 things that love does. And we're going to take them one at a time. Sometimes we'll pair a couple, two or three up. But we're going to be in this series for several weeks. And we're going to get familiar with this passage. So I just want to read it again. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, beginning in verse 1. And in your pew Bibles, in my pew Bible, it's on page 1203, 1203. 1203, 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And now I will show you the most excellent way. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains but have not love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flames but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Okay. So today, we're looking at this first negative. Love does not envy. Love doesn't envy. So, I don't know, you probably woke up this morning, and I'm guessing you didn't say, I've got a big problem with envy, right? That's probably not your thing. So I want to get into envy here. And one way to understand what envy is to look at what envy is not. And I also just want to alert you to the fact that in studying this passage, I listened to a series of conversations on Discover the Word. I don't know if anybody ever listened to Discover the World. Radio Bible Class, used to be called, with Alice Matthews, Mark DeHaan, and Haddon Robinson. So if you're interested, you can check that out. But some of my illustrations and a lot of my thinking about that really comes from those conversations. So love does not envy. So we want to take the fuzz off of the word envy. So in order to do that, I want to look at what envy is not, okay? Envy is not jealousy, right? It's actually, they're a little bit different. So when we think of jealousy, we're really thinking of love and relationships, okay? So someone is jealous when they feel like something or someone has been taken away from them that is rightfully theirs, okay? So for instance, the jealous boyfriend, right? When the girlfriend is maybe spending too much time with another guy. That's jealousy. So you feel like something that is rightfully yours, that relationship, has been taken away. The Bible tells us that God is jealous for his people, right? We belong to him. Yet so often we turn our backs and we've said, I belong to this. I belong to my job. I belong to this culture. I belong to something else. And we've forgotten about God. And God says, no, you belong to me. You're rightfully mine. So he's jealous for his people, okay? That's jealousy. There's another word here that's related to envy and jealousy as well. It's covetousness. And to covet something else means that, Haddon Robinson put it well, he said, it's wanting more of what you already have enough of, okay? That's covet. When we covet something, we want more of what we already have enough of. And when you may look at your neighbor and maybe they have a nicer car than you, and it's a bigger car than you, it's newer and all of that, and you look at that and your car is just fine. But you look at it and you say, I really want that. I wish I had that. But covetousness, you get to the point where you're looking so much over there that what you have in front of you is no longer good enough. And you're not satisfied, and you're discontent. And every day you get into that car, you close the door, and you think, why do I have to drive this? And you keep thinking about your neighbor's car more and more and more. Covetousness. It's wanting more of what we already have enough of. And it can do a number on you, can't it? Envy takes all of this just a little step further, okay? Now, the word that Paul uses here for envy, there are a few different words for envy, but he actually uses kind of a middle-of-the-road sort of word it can have two meanings, this Greek word, okay? It can have a noble meaning, and it can have a base meaning. So you could envy in a noble kind of way, or you could envy in a base kind of way. And the noble meaning of the word envy is you look at somebody else, maybe the gifts that they have. Maybe it's somebody singing up here, and you say, I wish I could sing like that. And the noble part of envy makes you better. Maybe you talk to that person, you say, what can I do to sing the way you sing? You say, you take lessons. I studied with this teacher. You got to practice every day. You need opportunities to practice. And you become better in your gift of singing. The base version of envy is watching somebody sing. You wish you could sing that way. You want to do that. But it's not enough that you're able to sing the way they sing. You don't want them to sing the way they sing. You see the difference? You elevate, but they need to be diminished. That's envy. It takes things just a step further. Now, there's a wickedness to that, isn't it? I mean, not only wanting something that somebody else has or can do, but not wanting them to have it. You can't help but think of high school, right? I mean, high school just comes to mind when I think of envy. I don't know what it was like in your high school, but and maybe we have some prom queens here, but let's just use that as an example, a stereotypical example, okay? We're going to stereotype here. Do we have a prom queen here? Yeah, we do, yeah. Well, anyway. So you just imagine, you're at the prom, and there's a young one. Everybody knows she's going to be crowned queen because she's most popular and she's beautiful. Everybody likes her, and of course she's crowned queen. And as she comes to the stage, she's going to get her little crown, and she's got this entourage of girls behind her, all giddy, and they all follow her everywhere, through the hallways in school, everything. She is most popular, and you're kind of sitting there, and not only do you think, prom queen should be giving to somebody else at some point. It's always the same group, always the same people. But as you're watching her go up to receive her crown, you're just really hoping she trips on her way up the stairs, right? And maybe her dress splits, something like that, okay? We probably all had little thoughts like that. This is envy. And teenage girls, oh gosh, they can't hide it. They're good at it. Envy. But we probably see with their teenage boys too. They do the same thing. Maybe it's the head of the captain of the football team, okay? And the same thing. He's always got this entourage of guys around him. He's the most popular. Everything all about this guy. Everybody knows his name. And maybe you're on the football team too. Hey, you're spending some time on the bench. And you wish just once, you could get a play. 'Cause you're good too, but you haven't been recognized the way others have. Maybe you're sitting there one day and you think, I know we're on the same team, but I'd love to just see him get sacked. Or maybe the next 3 throws intercepted. That's envy. You want to be elevated to a position or have some characteristics or attributes, but we want to see the other person diminished. It's not enough that we're elevated. That other person has to be diminished. The color of envy, of course, you've heard this phrase, when you're green with envy, right? Somebody is green with envy. So I tried to look that up and see, where does that originate? Shakespeare used it a couple of times in some plays, but they think it actually came long before Shakespeare. The Romans would talk about envy in relation to the bile ducts at work in secreting bile, meaning envy can make us sick, right? When we envy, we just feel sick over it, rotten. And the proverb says, I think it's Proverbs 14:30 says, envy rots to the bone. It rots us from the inside out. The color of envy turns us green. In the Bible, the color of envy is actually linked to a burning. When envy is used in the Bible, often it's the word burning. The phrase is burning with envy. And for that, you think it's not just makes us sick, but we're red hot with anger when we envy. We're mad. We're angry about something. Red hot with anger. Well, envy, it's not quite jealousy. It's not exactly covetousness, wanting more of what you already have enough of. Envy is wanting to elevate your position, your voice, your attributes, but to the diminishment of somebody else. The thing about it is that maybe teenagers don't hide it well. They wear their green, they wear their burning, they burn right out in the open. But I wonder if as adults, we still do envy, but we mask the burning just a little bit better. When Paul writes this, he is writing to the Corinthian church. He's writing to church people. He's writing to believers. And they haven't been using their gifts well. Some have been using them in kind of power-monger-ish ways. And just the whole church is really kind of a mess, actually. People are elevating different people and saying, well, I learned from this person, and I learned from this person. There's all kinds of fighting, and Paul comes in and says, stop. We've got to love one another. And love doesn't envy. So there must have been something happening there where people were using gifts or doing things in the church in a way that other people envied them. And this is true in the church world. This is true in our professional lives. This is true at home. Maybe think about the business world, right? Maybe you've gone to work and you started in college with somebody else. Maybe you're in the same degree program. You were in business or finance together or medicine or whatever it is. And somewhere along the tracks, your tracks lined up, but somewhere along, she got promoted or he got promoted, and you kind of were left behind here. And you'd like to be on this track, but now you look at them and you know what? You really wouldn't mind if they failed. Or maybe got caught in a scandal. That's envy. Or maybe you're working in a company or an organization or even volunteer, and you see somebody who is able to look at numbers or words and just organize them in a way that makes sense and brings clarity. And when they present it, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and you really wish you were able to do that. But you also wish that they didn't have that position, that they would just go, leave the church, be done with them. That's envy. And the thing about envy is that it destroys relationships. We can't really love another person if we want to see them diminished. There's no real relationship. You can't do that. So Paul says love, it doesn't envy, because you can't have a real relationship. We can't work as the body of Christ in the church or outside of the church, be the arms and feet and hands of Jesus, if we envy other people, wanting to diminish them and elevate ourselves. So envy, it's elevating ourselves to the diminishment of somebody else. And it does a number on us. There's a story about a holy man living in the Libyan desert. And a group of Satan's demons surround this holy man. And they want to get him to fall. They want to tempt him, right? So they come at him with all kinds of things. They come at him and they say, this scorching heat, walk away from it. Get some shelter. This is ridiculous. And then they come at him and they mock the way he honors and loves God. And they say, what is God doing for you? The holy man doesn't budge. Nothing. And they keep at him. And one day Satan walks by, and Satan sees these demons around this holy man, and he calls over his demons and he says, your tactics are far too crude for a holy man, a saint of this caliber. Satan said, watch. And he sidled up to the holy man. He put his arm around him and whispered in his ear, have you heard the news about your good friend? He just became Bishop of Alexandria. And at that, the holy man's face burned. And Satan knew he had him. Envy rots the bones. We feel it in a little bit of a different way as adults. But I still think sometimes if we look hard enough, it's there. I was talking to Rich and the kids about this message, and Rich and I couldn't help but immediately, just the example that came to mind, the more contemporary example, was Tanya Harding. and Nancy Kerrigan. You remember that? I mean, that was years ago now, but you think about it and you say, I can't believe somebody did that. I can't believe, but I mean, what a perfect example. We do it in smaller ways all the time. But the thing about envy is that it really doesn't hurt the person that we're envious toward, but it wrecks us, turns us green, makes us burn with anger. But it really does a number on us, and it does a number on the body of Christ in any potential relationship. There's another story about an eagle that was envious of another eagle that could fly and soar higher than he could. So this eagle, watching this other eagle fly high in the sky, saw an archer. And so this eagle went over to the archer and said, I'd love for you to shoot down that eagle soaring so high in the sky. And the archer said, okay, but I'll need a feather for my bow in order to reach that eagle. So the eagle plucked a feather and gave it to the archer. He put it in his bow and he aimed. But still the bow would not go far enough, and he said, I'll need another feather. And that eagle plucked another feather, and again, it didn't reach far enough. Well, the eagle was so determined to see his rival eagle taken down that he plucked all of his feathers out of his own body, gave them, and of course the archer turned and shot him. But this is what envy does. It kills us from the inside out. It destroys us. When we look at others around us, we maybe want what they have or what they do, and instead of rejoicing with those who rejoice or celebrating their gifts, we say, that's not good enough. I want to see them diminished. That's envy. It's a deep-seated resentment. It happens in churches, and it is destructive. So how do we deal with envy? I think we pray about it. Really. If there's someone or a situation that we find that we're envious, we've got envy in our heart, we really want to pray for that person. Take them to the Lord and say, Lord, I'm having a lot of trouble loving this person. And maybe this person is difficult to love. Put them before the Lord and pray for them. That's what we're doing in this whole series. We are going to pray to be loving people, more patient, more kind, and now not envious. And we're really going to see how God changes us in the end. F.B. Meyer was a great preacher, and he was an evangelist, held meetings in Northfield, Massachusetts. Large crowds thronged to him. But as he was given his meetings, the great British Bible teacher, G. Campbell Morgan, came to Northfield. And then people left Meyer and went to see Morgan. Bigger crowds. And F.B. Meyer confessed at first he really was envious. And he said, the only way I can conquer my feelings is to pray for G. Campbell Morgan daily, which I do. Envy's a real thing, in the church, outside of the church. But let's be people who focus on the gifts and the blessings that we've been given. Encourage the people around us to use theirs. And when we see that envy is just seeping in, to really pray, lift that before God, and say, God, I want to be a person who loves. Make me a person who has no envy. Would you pray with me?